In the quiet pines of Lakeshore Pines, Michigan, a modest cedar cabin stands on the edge of a glassy lake, its dock stretching gently into the water like an open hand. Built in 1960 by Korean War veteran Henry Holloway, the property was more than a vacation home, it was a legacy. 3 generations learned to fish from that dock. Christmases were spent around its fieldstone fireplace. For Rex Holloway, returning to the cabin after his divorce wasn't just about healing, it was about reclaiming a piece of his family's soul. But within months of moving in, that piece was shattered not by nature, but by bureaucracy. Brenda Wickshshire, president of the Lakeshore Pines Homeowners Association, HOA, launched a campaign of harassment, fines, and legal threats that would escalate into one of the most brazen cases of HOA corruption in Michigan history. What began as a property dispute quickly spiraled into a federal investigation uncovering forgery, embezzlement, evidence tampering, and a pattern of elder abuse that spanned years. And at the center of it all was a retired veteran who refused to back down. Rex Holloway inherited the 2.3-acre lakefront property in 2021. What he didn't know was that the HOA incorporated just 3 months after his grandfather's funeral had been built on a foundation of fraud. Brenda Wickshshire, a 58-year-old former insurance adjuster with a suspended license, had seized control of the HOA board in 2019. Her leadership style was authoritarian. Bird feeders removed, American flags fined for being too tall, and memorial wind chimes banned for noise pollution. Residents described her as a compliance commando, complete with a measuring tape clipped to her belt and a white Toyota Highlander emblazoned with HOA official. When she arrived at Rex's door with a courtesy notice listing 47 violations from dock placement to fire pit positioning, Rex pushed back. His grandfather's cabin predated the HOA by decades, but Wickshshire was unmoved. Previous ownership is legally irrelevant, she told him. All properties must comply with current regulations. She threatened to place a lien on the property if he didn't pay $500 in compliance review fees and $75 per day in fines. That night, Rex drove to the county courthouse. Buried in dusty land records, Rex found the truth. The HOA had forged his grandfather's signature on the consent forms required for incorporation. Not a clerical error, a deliberate act of fraud. The developer's son, now a board member, had signed Henry Holloway's name without authorization. That's when I realized this wasn't about property values, Rex said. This was theft, targeted at the elderly, the vulnerable, the ones who couldn't fight back. He began documenting everything. Security cameras were installed. Conversations were recorded, legally, under Michigan's one-party consent law. He hired Stella Crawford, a sharp Grand Rapids property attorney with a reputation for dismantling corrupt associations. Then came the breakthrough. A surveyor, Jimmy Kowalski, approached Rex in confidence. Brenda had paid him to fabricate violations, not to measure, but to manufacture them. When he hesitated, she threatened to report him to the county. She wanted ammunition, Kowalski said, not accuracy. Another revelation. Brenda had hired a private investigator, Danny Kowalski, no relation to plant evidence in Rex's trash. The PI handed Rex a recording of Brenda's voice. Find anything that makes him look dangerous. If you can't find it, create it. I'll pay a bonus if it sticks. The case was no longer just about one cabin. It was about a pattern. While Brenda escalated daily inspections, false police reports, defamation campaigns, Rex and his neighbors formed what they called the Coffee Club, a quiet resistance meeting at the cabin every Saturday morning. Among them, Martha Kessler, whose memorial garden for her late husband was bulldozed. Tom Bradley, a veteran fined for flying a flag 3 inches too tall, and a young couple fined $300 for their children's chalk drawings on the sidewalk. They pooled evidence. They recorded harassment. They discovered that 67 had vanished from the HOA's reserve fund, funneled into Wickshshire Property Management LLC, a shell company that never managed a single property. In his grandfather's military trunk, Rex found the original 1,960 deed. It didn't just prove ownership, it revealed that the property extended 40 feet further west than anyone knew. Brenda's prized rose garden, built on Rex's land, her gazebo, also trespassing. She wasn't just trying to steal my cabin, Rex said. She'd been living on my property for years. On a crisp autumn afternoon, Michigan Attorney General Rebecca Santos arrived at the cabin for a private meeting about systemic HOA abuse. As Rex greeted her at the door, tires screeched. Brenda Wickshshire stormed in, no knock, no warrant, clipboard in hand, ready to issue another citation. She didn't see the state seal on the SUV. She didn't recognize the woman beside Rex as Michigan's top prosecutor. "Rex Holloway," she bellowed, "you're in violation of 17 new residential codes." AG Santos stepped forward. "Ma'am, you've just committed felony breaking and entering, trespassing, and harassment in front of the state's chief law enforcement officer." The silence was absolute. When Rex unfolded the original deed and showed her the truth that she was the trespasser, Brenda's measuring tape fell to the ground with a metallic clang. 1 week later, the FBI arrested Brenda Wickshshire and board member Dale Pritchard at 6 a.m. Federal charges included elder fraud, RICO violations, racketeering, evidence tampering, embezzlement, civil rights violations. A federal judge dissolved the HOA. Victims received restitution. The state launched a new initiative to protect homeowners from predatory associations. The community rebuilt not as a mandated HOA, but as a voluntary Lakeshore Community Association, focused on cooperation, not control. Rex turned his experience into advocacy. He launched Know Your Property Rights, a YouTube channel with over 50 subscribers, and partnered with the Attorney General's office to expose similar schemes across Michigan. From the ashes of fraud, something beautiful grew. A veterans retreat on the property, offering free stays for combat veterans struggling with PTSD. The retreat is funded by the fraud settlement, turning Brenda's greed into healing. And where her rose garden once bloomed, a community compost bin now stands feeding the soil that nourishes Martha's restored memorial garden. A warning and a hope. Rex Holloway's story is not unique. Across Michigan and the nation, predatory HOAs exploit legal loopholes, target the vulnerable, and operate with little oversight. But his case proves something powerful. When one person stands up with evidence, strategy, and courage, entire systems can fall. "Brenda thought I was broken," Rex said, sitting on his grandfather's dock at sunset. "She didn't realize I was just getting started." Today, the loons still call across the lake, the coffee still brews in the old percolator, and the cabin and the truth remain.